He comes to the front row of the grid for the 13th time in 15 races, and usually when Marc Marquez starts on the front row, he gets the job done. Listen to these stats: 25 of his last 27 front rows he's converted into podiums. 48 of his 52 Premier Class victories have been taken from the front row of the grid.
Last time Marc Marquez started from third on the grid was in Jerez in Spain. There were 2 Yamahas ahead of him on that day, and he got to turn 1 in front. That was crucial on that day. Will it be crucial again here today?
Fabio needs to be phenomenal to beat Marc Marquez. He needs to be fantastic as well to beat Maverick Vinales. They have one clear strategy. They've got to get a good start. They're desperate to get their head down, push hard, attacking those first 3 or 4 laps and try and break away from the Ducatis. The horsepower advantage that Ducati will have on that first straight from turns 1 to 3. We saw how the Yamaha struggled for top power in Aragon last time around. Quartararo and Vinales said the strategy crystal clear. A good start, a hard first 3 or 4 laps to make sure that they're away from those Ducati GP19s.
And Catalonia onwards, Quartararo has been warming up nicely. He is going to be some threat in the future. Can't wait to see what he does in his second season next year. Buriram town is, of course, the capital of Buriram province. Just a few miles down the road. All sorts going on down there. We've certainly enjoyed some of the local delicacies over the last couple of days. Some great food in town down there. And of course this man, I'll be hoping he's celebrating there a bit later on, Maverick Vinales.
Yeah, decent recent record for Maverick Vinales. 5 podiums in his last 7. 4th place though in Aragon. I think we're about to cross down live onto the grid. Simon Crafar has got the man who can be world champion here today in Buriram 2019. He's on the grid with Simon.
Mark, another big day today, but you seem to handle anything that comes your way, no problem. Please give us your thoughts going into the race. Yes.
Yeah, of course, it will be a tough race, especially because Yamaha riders are really fast. Even Dovizioso is riding in a very good way. In the warm-up, he had an issue with the bike, but apart of that, he has a good level. So yeah, it will be a tough race. Really hot, warm, difficult to manage the tires, but we will try to do our best and yeah, try to fight for the race.
Best of luck, Mark.
Thank you.
Thanks very much to Simon Crafar. How good is it to hear from the man himself, the world champion present? Could he be the world champion again this afternoon? Thanks very much to Marc Marquez for talking to Simon ahead of what must be. There must be some nerves there somewhere, deep down.
Yeah, the stakes are high. The temperatures are certainly high here today in Buriram. Danilo Petrucci trying everything at his disposal to try and just keep his core temperature as cool as he possibly can. He's got an ice pack strapped around his neck. He's got ice packs tucked inside the leathers all over his chest. Andrea Dovizioso makes his way to the grid. He's speaking to Service TV there. Good of Andrea to have time for Andrea Schlager, their host, ahead of a race that he knows. If we are to have Marc Marquez, the World Champions party, delayed until Honda's home Grand Prix at the Twin Rim Motegi, we keep saying it's pure and simple. He has to find a way to beat Marc Marquez. It sounds relatively easy, but when Marc Marquez is in the equation, it's definitely easier said than done.
Jack Miller trying to seek some shade here ahead of his Grand Prix, looking for back-to-back podiums. And Simon's now down on the grid with his teammate, Pecco Bagnaia.
Pecco, you've had a hard couple of races lately, but this one looks like you're turning things around.
We try. The pace is good. Yesterday in the qualifying, I make a little mistakes and I crash. So I think that it can be a positive race, but let's see for the conditions and also the forecast say that maybe will rain. So let's see.
Thanks, Pecco. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks to Pecco Bagnaia. Crikey, spanner in the works. That would be a massive change in conditions. Here are the Espargaro brothers then. Paul and Aleix just having a little bit of a pre-race natter, pre-race laugh. They are starting right next to each other on the 4th row of the grid. So are we going to get a flag-to-flag race?
Pierre Gasly here to watch the race unfold. Of course, the Toro Rosso Formula 1 driver, not having a bad season over in F1, of course, just recently come from Singapore, so why not have a spot of MotoGP?
I understand he's part of the MotoGP post-race celebrations. Joan Mir Second race in a row, he's out-qualified his more experienced Suzuki teammate Alex Rins, going from the middle of that third row. Third top 10 qualifying in a row for Joan Mir, really starting to find his feet again after that confidence-sapping big post-race testing crash in Buriram Monday. We can pop down to Simon Crowfoot. We just saw the Espargaro brothers trying to keep cool in these baking Buriram conditions. I'm delighted to say Aleix is having a quick word with Simon down there on the grid.
Aleix is one of the fittest riders on the grid. It looks like it's going to be a tough one in these conditions. What do you think?
Yeah, now we were just discussing with my brother. There's going to be a super demanding race. It's very, very, very hot, unbelievable hot. So yeah, try my best. Try to save energy till the end, because the last 5 laps will be very, very demanding physically. So let's try my best, try to be smooth and fight till the end.
Good luck, Aleix.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck to Aleix Espargaro, the factory Aprilia rider, coming here, of course, off the back of the best result of the season at his home race in Aragon. It is hot out there. We've spent time out in the paddock over the last couple of days, and if you spend more than 10 minutes out there, you really feel it. What do you think these guys are going to be going through?
We all know what it's like when you're all suited and booted in full riding kit. Even back in England, it can get pretty hot and sticky. I mean, imagine now, the riders just doing everything they possibly can to get that last-minute shade. That is Pecco Bagnaia hidden under what I'm sure is a towel that's been locked in a freezer for the past 12 hours or so, just trying to keep him as cool as he possibly can, taking on that crucial fluid, keeping yourself hydrated ahead of this really grueling Buriram battle coming up. 26 laps. Here's the latest track temperature. That's going to be critical as well in terms of tyre durability and tyre endurance. The hottest part of the circuit in that third sector, 53 degrees, 127 degrees Fahrenheit. Not just a punishing race for the riders, but a punishing race for the tyres and their motorcycles.
Cal Crutchlow starts from 13th. He's 9th in the World Championship. I don't think he's expecting too much from today as far as Cal's concerned. Let's get out of Thailand and move on to Japan. Here's Marc Marquez then. He makes his way back out onto the grid ahead of what could be a very important day indeed.
Well, on the exterior, on the outside, you've got to say, he looks his usual, typical epitome of cool and calm, doesn't he, Marc Marquez? This is what it's all about today. Marquez, 300 points. Andrea Dovizioso, 202. Marquez needs just 2 points more than Desmo Dobby, and he is the 2019 MotoGP World Champion.
The BMW roars away from the grid then. I do believe we'll now be hearing the national anthem of Thailand.
Rousing rendition of the Thai national anthem. That's really stoked up the atmosphere here in Buriram. We've been singing the praises of this man, Marc Marquez, throughout 2019. He's called the tune so often this year, and he stands on the brink of being crowned world champion. Will he get the job done here today? Everybody, I've got to say, around him looks relatively relaxed and comfortable. Yeah,
they do, but they know what he's like. They know that he can deliver on days like this. We mentioned Suzuki earlier on and their chances. Joan Mir will start from the third row in 8th, Alex Rins 10th. What can we really expect from the factory Suzuki team today? Let's find out what Davide Brivio's thoughts are ahead of the Grand Prix of Thailand. He's down on the grid with Simon.
Davide, normally on the grid I ask if your riders can come through to the podium, or bet they can, but looking at FP4 today looks a little more difficult.
Yeah, it looks on a paper, looking at the practice, looks like the first row, the three rider in the first row, they have probably a better pace than everybody else. And so let's see, Johan had a good warm-up, a good pace, so if he is able to keep in the race, I think we can get in a good position. Alex, we see how much he can recover. It seems not so fast as the top three, so yes, I'm agreeing. It could be more difficult than other times, but let's see how the race develops. The end of the race will be complicated, probably with the tires. It depends if the top group will do a management race, where they try to manage the tire, or an attack, depend on how the fight develops. So it's more complicated than other times. We'll try.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
An electric atmosphere here at Thailand building up. It's really getting the juices flowing here.
You can feel the tension, you can feel the atmosphere building. Fabio Quartararo getting the leather zipped up. The helmet will be on, the visor will be down, and then the lights will be out very, very shortly. Maverick Vinales has been brilliant inside that top three all weekend. Have that top three got the pace? Quartararo, Vinales and Marquez to make that critical breakaway.
We are 5 minutes away from the start of the race. Maverick Vinales playing around on the front row. Everyone seeming like they're pretty cool, calm, and
well, the pressure's
jovial.
off Maverick. Yeah, the pressure is off. He's got nothing to lose. He's not fighting for the World Championship. He can gung-ho, perhaps potentially take more risks than Marquez.
We are seconds away from action here at the Chang International Circuit for the Grand Prix of Thailand. Aragon is underway. Marquez leads into turn one.
1 second clear of the field.
An absolutely magic performance from Marquez. Match point to Marquez. Can anyone stop him? Here comes Miller. Look at this. And now Rins. Petrucci still late into the final corner. Here comes Maverick Vinales. This is really brave. Dobby says, no, you don't.
Epic battle in Austria.
But here comes Dobby. Dobby's on the inside. He's done it.
Marquez from Rins.
No, they're side by side. Here we go then. Marquez has been mugged again.
Quartararo's going for it. He's got the inside line. Here he comes. It is time to race. It's the day of reckoning for Marquez. 98 points clear with the 93 of his closest rival, Andrea Dovizioso. Only 4 men previously in Grand Prix history have won the MotoGP World title 4 years in a row. Mike Hailwood, Giacomo Agostini, Mick Doohan and Valentino Rossi. More history, more records beckon for Marquez.
Does he do it with 4 races to spare? Marquez then starting on the front row, all of them with the same compound of tyres. Maverick Vinales looking to return to winning ways. And the rookie, the sensation of 2019, the man who is surely going to be challenging in the future, Fabio Quartararo. Will he finally get his hands on a winner's trophy in MotoGP? It's time for the Thai Grand Prix.
It's the Thai Grand Prix. Can Marquez tie up the 2019 MotoGP World Championship? He starts on the front row with the 2 Yamahas. Fabio Quartararo, 4th pole of the season ahead of Maverick Vinales. Morbidelli, Petrucci and Jack Miller make up the 2nd row. Andrea Dovizioso, the Italian, the only man who can stop Marquez being crowned world champion today. He heads row 3 and 7th from Joan Mir and Valentino Rossi. Alex Rins and the Espargaro brothers find themselves on an all-Spanish 4th row of the grid. Further down, the 2 LCR Hondas of Cal Crutchlow and Taka Nakagami are on row 5 with Pecco Bagnaia, Iannone, Oliveira and Rabat. They're on row 6 for this 26-lapper. Row 7, Jorge Lorenzo with Carol Abraham and Mika Kallio, and Hafi Sari in the Malaysian. He'll be used and accustomed to these baking hot conditions. He's on row 8.
Unbelievably, I don't think I've seen this too many times before. 21 of the 22 riders on the grid have gone for the exact same tyre combination. Only Jorge Lorenzo has gone for a medium front. 95,352 people packed into the grandstand. We cannot wait for this. What does Dovi do here today? Can he stop Marc Marquez? What about Tardozzi? Does he think his man can do it? He's down with Simon.
Dovi did an incredible job of coming through from well back on the grid to second position at Aragon. A lot of people think he can do the same today, but looking at it, it looks to me that it's going to be more difficult at this circuit. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely yes, because in Aragon I guess that we make the right choice compared to the Yamahas, while here all the riders are on the same choice of rear and front tire. So I think that section 3, section 4 is more for Yamaha and Marquez, so it will be much more difficult, but we trust he can be there. If he have a good start, maybe he can stay with the top 3 guys, Marquez, Vinales and Quartararo till the end.
Quickly, your thoughts on Danilo?
I think that Danilo is 1 or 2 tenths lower than Dovi, but he can have a good race too.
Thank you.
Thanks to Davide Tardozzi, thanks to Simon Crafar. It will be, in many respects, all eyes on Andrea Dovizioso. He is such a key man in the outcome of this 2019 MotoGP World Championship. Last year we had an absolute classic, a barnstormer in Buriram. It was taken at the last corner by Marc Marquez from Andrea Dovizioso. A repeat of that over the next 45 minutes and 26 laps or so, and we will have our 2019 MotoGP World Champion, and his name will be Marc Marquez.
There it is, plain and simple. Is it going to be done today? We're about to find out. The wait is over. Here we go. Oh, problem for Jack Miller. He's wheeling the bike up the grid. What an absolute disaster for the Aussie.
Disaster, absolute disaster for Jack Miller then. He stalled it on the line.
Chapter 15, minus Jack Miller. Look to the lights. And away we go. Good start from Fabio Quartararo and Morbidelli. Marc Marquez is not going to get the whole shot here. Vinales trying to fight. Good start from Petrucci as well. I'm looking for Dovi. He's made up a couple of places, but Quartararo leads.
Perfect start then for Fabio Quartararo, just where he wanted to be. He's been hunted already by Marc Marquez. There's Maverick Vinales in 3rd place. Dovizioso's had a great start. He's already got himself up into 4th place, right where he wants to be, on the back of that top 3.
Maverick Vinales up the inside of Marc Marquez, but he's gone wide. Through again goes Marc, then Dovi in 4th. That is a magic start for him. Out of the seat in the background there, Alex Rins, although he has made up a few places.
Dovi toughed it out on the outside going into that first corner. A nightmare then for Jack Miller, stalling it on the line, having to start from pit lane. Quartararo then, Franco Morbidelli's Petronas Yamaha teammates out wide, coming through turn number 4. Marquez closes right up onto the rear tyre of Quartararo. Vinales does the same to his fellow Spaniard. Joan Mir's picked off his Suzuki teammate Alex Rins. An excellent first lap so far for the rookie.
Heading up towards turn 8 then, it's Quartararo who leads from Marquez and Vinales and Dovi. Further behind, the 2 Suzukis are really scrapping it away. Morbidelli's regrouped after going wide a moment ago.
No impression made by Rossi. He's still deep in this mid-pack. 9th place he started, 9th he was through the first 2 sectors. He has got up into 8th place now, Rossi, so he's starting to make a bit of forward progress. Down into turn number 12 then for the first time of asking. It will be the pole man, Frenchman Fabio Quartararo, that's going to lead from the world champion-elect Marc Marquez. Vinales in 3rd. Dovizioso had an almost perfect first lap for him. He's gained 3 places, 7th to 4th.
Rossi got Rins in the last corner. He's up into 7th place now. Vinales made a bit of a mistake actually into the final turn. That's why he's lost ground. Here comes the speed of the Honda though. Look at the difference here as he pulls up alongside the rookie Fabio Quartararo. He's on the outside though, but he's going to shoot through to the lead. Can he hold it into turn 3?
He's wide, he's well wide. Marc Marquez runs out really wide. He's just going to hold on to that 2nd place from Maverick Vinales. The slipstream there he got behind Quartararo. He would have got sucked into that corner a little bit faster, 6 or 7 kilometres an hour faster, perhaps just missed his braking marker. But Quartararo knows that he's right on his rear tyre, just the place you don't want to be, leading a MotoGP race with plus 93.0.
Into Marquez's favourite section, the left-handers, despite a fall yesterday, he's right on the tail unit here of Quartararo, but the Yamaha then starts to come into its own as they enter the final sector. on board there with Marc Marquez in second place. In the background, still no change in the top 10.
Yeah, crucially on that first lap, we saw straight away Quartararo and Vinales. They were far enough ahead of Andrea Dovizioso's Ducati not to get blitzed by the Desmos Medici horsepower down into turn number 3. That was always going to be critical for Quartararo and Vinales.
So far this race has taken on a similar trait to that of Misano. Quartararo leads from Marquez. Vinales is in there at the moment, and that will please him. If Vinales can stay there for a couple of laps, he's definitely in the mix. It's a hot pace already. A 31.4 from Fabio Quartararo across the line.
So Marquez will try and wind up the power of that Honda. We know it's much, much quicker this year than Fabio Quartararo's Yamaha. He needs all those extra 500 revs that have been given to him here this weekend in Buriram. Marquez is not going to be close enough this time to attack. Vinales can't really sort of get latched onto Marquez's rear tyre. We've seen this a few times in recent weeks, certainly in Misano, looking ahead from Marc Marquez's Honda to Fabio Quartararo's Yamaha. It's the Frenchman that still holds the advantage as we sweep down into turn 4 for the third time.
Watch how close Marquez gets into turn 4. This downhill, frighteningly fast left-hander. It just runs slightly wide there, does Quartararo, but he stays out front for now. Will Marquez have a little look up into turn 6? No. Stays in second for now. Further back, it's Dovi in 4th, Morbidelli, Mir, Rossi, Rins, Petrucci, Aleix Spargaro.
Yeah, Vinales has found 10th in this second sector. He's just edging a little bit closer to Marquez, but he's got his hands full fending off Andrea Dovizioso.
In terms of the championship, of course, whilst Marquez is ahead of Dovi, the championship is his. And Dovi actually, just in these early stages, despite getting a really good start, is coming under attack from Franco Morbidelli on the Petronas Yamaha.
Yeah, Andrea Dovizioso, he might be wary, a bit reluctant to be pushing too hard at this stage of the race. Time management will be certainly at the forefront of his mind. Quartararo comes over the line. He leads by almost 3.5 tenths from Marquez. Marquez set his personal best lap of the race so far, a 1:31.524. It was still slightly slower though than Quartararo, who was just ahead of him.
Towards turn 3, they rumble, and Marquez stays put for now. Maverick Vinales just trying to stay in contention. It was this stage of the race in Misano where we lost him really out of contention.
Decent pace at the moment from Desmo Dovi, but not good enough. He's about 2 or 3 tenths slower than Quartararo and Marquez right now. He's 1.5 seconds off your race leader. Dovi just gone out of your picture there as they sweep through turn 4.
Valentino Rossi's trying to find a way through on Joan Mir in the fight for 6th place.
Top ride that by Mir, isn't it? To be in front of Rossi at this stage, and also clear of his teammate Alex Rins. He's got on par pace-wise of late with Rins as Joan Mir, starting to show exactly why Suzuki plucked him out of Moto2 after just 1 season in the Intermediate World Championship.
The nightmare for Cal Crutchlow is continuing at the moment. He's in some trouble, the British rider. He's down to 17th at the moment. Mika Kallio's just gone past him.
Yeah, that is an absolute shocker for Crutchlow. Back with Dovizioso, then here's that battle with Mir and Rossi. Rossi all over the rookie's rear tyre, but can't find a way through. He's going to be close enough now. Looked like Mir was just a little bit wide coming through turn number 11. Here comes Rossi. The wily old campaigner just fires. Oh, Rossi lost the front. He got up the inside of Mir coming into that final corner. That's such an easy mistake to make. Rossi had his left foot off the foot peg, but he did stand firm. He did hold on to that position, so he did get through on Mir and make a stick. Old Kallio just got through on Crutchlow, and he's gone down at turn 8.
Fastest lap of the race from Fabio Quartararo, 31.1. Here's Kallio, at least he's okay, hopefully. What happened here to the Finnish rider? Blimey, he's gone a long way into that. He's absolutely fuming.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Finnish rider not going to finish here in Buriram. Now, Dovizioso over the line last time around, his personal best lap of the race was a 1:38. Nowhere near good enough. 7 tenths slower than Quartararo, 6 tenths slower than Marquez, and half a second slower than Vinales. Hasn't got the speed at this stage of the race as Dovi.
No, live championship, Marquez wins this one right now as it stands. As I said, it's a really hot pace at the start of this. It's a long old race, you know. The prediction was early 31s, late 30s, but with the temperatures as high as this, I must admit I thought it would be sort of 31 3s and 4s at the front of it. So Quartararo setting quite a hot pace, and he's almost forcing Marquez to kind of join him right now, and Dovi can't live with it.
No, Maverick Vinales has been pushed to his limit as well, just to try and keep himself in this battle for the top 2.
I think Maverick will be okay in a couple of laps' time, Matt. It's sort of tradition, isn't it, at the moment with Maverick Vinales? 6-7 laps into a race, and then all of a sudden, let's go.
Well, we know how good Dovizioso is as well on worn tyres. The problem is he just giving himself too much to do to get himself back into contention? Marquez has got the hammer down. 1:31.094 is the best lap of the race. Razlan Razali, Tronus SRT Yamaha team principal, looking on. His rookie sensation is doing another sensational job here, Fabio Quartararo. This is almost a carbon copy mirror image of Misano, where Marquez was quite content to let Quartararo do all of the front running. Took him to the last lap to find a way through. Are we seeing history repeat itself here in Buriram, or will there be some revenge extracted by Mr. Quartararo?
Session by session, Quartararo's been getting quicker and quicker here this weekend in Thailand. We shouldn't forget, of course, that everywhere we go, he's new to the circuits. Quartararo doing a great job out front. They've found a setting that's much quicker than it was on Friday. They were a good 4/10 adrift on Friday.
Well, we heard from Yamaha MD Lynn Jarvis at the start of this weekend, confirming to Simon Crafer, it looks like there's going to be confirmation coming very, very soon of Fabio Quartararo getting a significant M1 machine upgrade next year. He'll be on the Spec A bike, pretty close to what Valentino Rossi, Maverick Vinales and Franco Morbidelli run, and these are performances exactly why he's getting that upgrade. It's been another stunning show so far from Quartararo. Everything that Marquez is throwing at him so far, he's been able to resist, and resist quite comfortably. Looks really good in his rhythm, not making any mistakes. It's all neat and tidy. That Yamaha looks like it's on rails at the moment.
And that was another fastest lap of the race from Quartararo, 31.033 then for the Frenchman. Here is Maverick Vinales in third.
It's going to be a deflated and demoralised Dovizioso very soon, because he just cannot get on par with the three ahead of him again. A 1:31.7 last time around, but 7/10 slower than Fabio Quartararo. Got a bit tight there on that run down to the first corner between the two Spaniards. A bit of jostling with the elbows between Vinales and Marquez.
Here's the replay at the start then, as Marquez gets up close and personal with Maverick, who straight away gets his elbows out. Marquez, I can just see out of the corner of our screen whilst you're looking at that, really closing on Fabio Quartararo on this lap, midway through.
Andrea Dovizioso, you can never relax in a MotoGP race, but at the moment he's being really harassed and hounded by Franco Morbidelli, and Rossi, Mir and Rins are starting to make inroads into that battle for fourth place as well.
There's an argument, of course, if you're watching at home, for saying, well, OK, Marc Marquez here could just cruise it home behind Quartararo, be crowned world champion. But he knows, he said himself, Quartararo poses the biggest threat of the future. He doesn't want him to win his first race.
If there's a dictionary in Marc Marquez's house, the word cruise would have been taken out of it. He just doesn't do that, does he?
He's addicted to winning. He is obsessed with winning. He does not like finishing second.
Well, here is that battle for fourth place. Franco Morbidelli has been glued to Dovizioso's back wheel now pretty much since the start, but cannot really get close enough to show Dovi a wheel. The gap between the two Italians is about 4/10 of a second. Rins has finally struck back on his teammate Joan Mir.
Rossi's got some OK rhythm here, actually. It's been a much better start to this Grand Prix than it was for him in the last two, as Rins just gets it a bit wrong there, and he's up alongside now fellow Spaniard and teammate Mir.
Well, this is blue on blue, some friendly fire going on here between Rins and Mir. It's advantage Rins.
So we're on board now with Marc Marquez in second place, trying to chase down Fabio Quartararo. He's 2 seconds clear now of Maverick Vinales in third.
Vinales, I was just looking out of our commentary box window, he's really struggling here, Maverick. Last time around he lost half a second to Marquez, he just hasn't got the speed. Here's turn one, Jack Miller, after that stall on the line, a pit lane start for him. He's got up the inside of Jorge Lorenzo, so Miller now in 19th place.
Bit messy that on the exit of turn 11 from Fabio Quartararo as they make their way down then into the final turn 12. 8 laps completed as they cross the line. Fabio Quartararo a 31.1, half a second clear of Marc Marquez.
Yeah, and again Vinales just way off the lap time he needs. 7/10 slower than the two men ahead of him. Dovizioso took a couple of tenths out of Vinales last time around. Here's Aleix Espargaro. putting that Aprilia inside the top 10 when they've got such a horsepower and acceleration deficit around this Buriram circuit. More kudos to Aleix Espargaro. You won't find anybody on planet Earth right now that's going to ride that RSGP any harder than the Spanish that man is doing right now.
No, just behind Espargaro, Nakagami's 11th, then it's Bagnaia, Pol Espargaro, Miguel Oliveira and Andrea Iannone just ahead of Cal Crutchlow.
It's going to be fascinating to see what Marquez does over the remaining, 17 and a half laps or so. He knows Dovizioso's way out of contention. Dovizioso's 1.6 seconds behind Maverick Vinales. What will he do? Will he risk it? Will he try and force the issue? Will he try and go with Quartararo? Will he just go, well, if I stay where I am, I'm the world champion? Where's your risk and reward ratio sitting at right now, Mark?
On board here with El Diablo, the devil, Fabio Quartararo. He was a devil to his opponents as a youngster in the Spanish and Junior World Championships back in the day, and he's starting to become a little bit of a thorn in a few people's side in MotoGP.
I think we're looking at the next generation MotoGP rivalry unfolding over these last couple of races, Steve.
Yeah, I can't argue with that, and it's very exciting.
Absolutely.
Very, very exciting, and it's brilliant for France as well. Regis Laconi's been hanging on to that record for a long, long time, but it won't be long until we hear Le Marcier playing on the top step. It might be in about 20 or 30 minutes' time.
Quartararo just gets that Yamaha hooked up brilliantly coming out of turn number 1. He's got great drive grip. Marquez at the moment just can't keep tabs with him. The gap, the biggest it's been, almost 7/10 of a second. These two are well clear of Vinales. Vinales is doing what Vinales always does. He has that little bit of a lull for 6 or 7 laps after a barnstorming start, because he's just come over the line now, a 1:31.187 on lap 9. Best lap of Vinales' race. It was the exact same lap time as Marquez, but again, he's just gone AWOL for too many laps.
It might not be too late. There's still a long race left here, but it's the same old story, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the only question is, how much rear tyre in particular are Quartararo and Marquez having to use up to run this searing pace at the front, the pace that's as hot as the ambient temperature here in Buriram.
The best race lap record was smashed early on this race. It was a 1:31.4 last year, a 1:31.0 so far.
Just look at how close it is in the sectors between Marquez and Quartararo. You can't separate them.
That's the lap record gone. Again, 30.966 for Fabio Quartararo in a lovely rhythm.
There are some seriously big questions being asked now of Marc Marquez, because this has been absolutely awesome by Fabio Quartararo. What a lap time that is with 10 laps gone, a 1:30.9. Alex Rins lost a place to, gained a place to Rossi on that last lap. Yeah, I wonder whether Rossi made a mistake, because he was in the mid 1:32s.
He's hit a brick wall. He's hit a brick wall in terms of in terms of grip here by the looks of things. What's happened here to Rossi? He had good rhythm a moment ago. I mean, that was a 32.5 he just posted. That's 1.5 seconds slower than the race leader Quartararo. Has he got a problem?
He must have made a mistake, Rossi. Either that or he's got a problem.
He's got a problem because these guys are just tearing away from him.
Yeah, I mean, Valentino Rossi does not lose that kind of time to Alex Rins in that space of time. So Rossi at the moment is really struggling. Not quite sure what his issues are, but he just has not got pace right now. Neither has this man, Andrea Dovizioso, who at the moment is 5.4 seconds away from the race leader Fabio Quartararo. And really, you've got to say, it's been a rather timid fight to try and push Marc Marquez all the way to this 2019 MotoGP battle here in Buriram.
So far over the weekend, Vinales has had better pace than Quartararo, but
Marquez has responded. He fires straight back at Quartararo. A 1:39.04 from Marquez. We know exactly where that risk and reward ratio is sitting. He's going for it. Gung-ho, the only way he knows. He's trying to keep that pressure on Fabio Quartararo just every time he comes over that line, as he gets tired or as the fatigue sets in with this heat and humidity. Just let him know you're right there. Put on his pit board. +0.93. Keep him thinking, keep him guessing.
They head down towards turn 4. The helicopter follows number 20 and number 93. Quartararo on the hunt for his first ever MotoGP victory.
Frightening speed and consistency though from these top two. absolutely brilliant. And again, Vinales on that last circuit, a personal best lap from him. If it wasn't for disappearing for those 6 or 7 laps, then Maverick Vinales would be right in this battle. He's got the pace, no doubt about it, certainly at this stage of the race, but we said this certainly in Misano.
Coming up to Yamaha territory now, Sector 4, the Repsol Honda rider Marc Marquez, well placed here to be crowned the world champion, but right now he's not even thinking about that. He's just got eyes only for that turquoise and black Yamaha up ahead of him.
Talk about upholding HRC honour as well, Marc Marquez, as he so often does. Cal Crutchlow at the moment is out of the points in 16th place. He's having a fight with Andrea Iannone for the last point scoring position. Jorge Lorenzo's way down in 19th. The next best Honda actually is the man on last year's model, Taka Nakagami, who's in 11th spot, and he's a long way off Aleix Espargaro in the battle for 10th.
Valentino Rossi on that last lap of 32.006. So he's lost ground on Joan Mir already. He's having a brilliant ride, by the way, Mir.
Here comes Marquez. We'd better start winding up and cueing the Jaws music here, because he's just starting to wind up the whip. This is the closest he's been to Fabio Quartararo for 6 or 7 laps now. He got the gap down last time to just under 0.4 of a second. He was a couple of tenths quicker on lap 12 than Quartararo.
He's going to have a look here, maybe even. Quartararo in a bit of trouble here as Marquez right on his tail. We're on board with the world champion now. They flick it right into turn 7. Marquez then, is he going to try and make a move somewhere on this lap? Quartararo may be dipping into the mid-131s.
He's going for something twofold here, isn't he? He wants to win the World Championship from the top step of the podium. He just wants to put the youngster in his place a little bit.
Well, he doesn't want to win the World Championship and have anything overshadow it, i.e. rookie win for Fabio Quartararo.
Quartararo once again the leading light for Yamaha. He has been absolutely incredible so far. You can see there Marquez, clear big advantage he has over Maverick Vinales. Yet again, how many laps now in a row has Vinales set his personal best lap of the race? Is that the 3rd or 4th? A 1:31.072, Steve, on his last lap. He was 0.3 quicker than Quartararo and Marquez. Now, if he carries on that kind of speed, then he may well have something for these guys in the last few laps.
Well, especially if they start having a go at each other.
Yeah, I mean, what Vinales is hoping right now is for Quartararo and to Marquez to get in a bit of a scuffle here.
Out of turn 3 towards turn 4. Vinales loses a couple of tenths as ever in sector 1 to Marc Marquez, but that is, of course, sectors 1 and 2, Marquez's favourite.
This is where the Yamaha is going to be strong. When you come through turn 4, this infield section, they can use their corner speed. We're on board now with Maverick Vinales. You can just see ahead of him over his left shoulder there. It's these two men, Quartararo and Marquez, just as they did at the Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli a few weeks ago, having what's been so far a race-long duel. It went all the way down to the last lap on the Adriatic coast. Is it going to go all the way down to the last lap here in Thailand as well?
Whatever happened to Rossi earlier, he's regrouped. He's back into the mid to late 131, so it must have been a couple of mistakes that he made earlier on.
And Cal Crutchlow's finally got himself into the point-scoring places, up to 15th ahead of Andrea Iannone, but nothing to shout about or write home about for the LCR Honda man.
Across the line then for Fabio Quartararo, a response, a 31 flat from Quartararo. They're trading fastest times here.
The times are incredible, absolutely incredible. When will the drop-off be? There's always a drop-off here in Thailand with Rui Grip because of these extremely hot and humid conditions. A bit further down the order is Pol Espargaro. 2 weeks after he fractured that left wrist, he's just set his personal best lap of the race as Policho. He's in 13th place, trying to hunt down Pecco Bagnaia, who in turn is trying to close down about a 1.1 second deficit to Taka Nakagami.
Breaking downhill into turn 4 once more. Marc Marquez desperately trying to eat into that lead again of Fabio Quartararo. He gets so close around here.
I've lost count how many 1:31.7s Andrea Dovizioso's done in this race. He's done a whole bunch of them, but that seems to be his limit. That seems to be as fast as that GP19 will allow him to go in this race, and let's be frank, it just has not been anywhere near good enough.
12 laps remain here, 14 gone. in Buriram. Fabio Quartararo leads from Marquez. We saw this very image in Misano, about a month ago, with Viñales not too far behind, but not close enough to contend. Into turn 12 to start another one. 15 laps will be completed. There will be 11 to go.
Well, history has shown us, certainly in the case of Maverick Viñales, when the competition is this strong, when the level is so high, certainly being put forward by these two men, Fabio Quartararo and Marc Marquez, you can't have these dips in races like Viñales does. You can't give these guys a centimetre. He's giving away far too much time in that sort of lap 3 to 8, 9, isn't it? Where, just like Misano, his pace just wasn't quick enough.
Alex Rins is in a pretty good groove himself now. He's up to 5, and again,
guess
Viñales,
what's just happened? Maverick Viñales has
sets his fastest lap
on 1:30.9, quickest man on the circuit, 2.4 seconds now behind Fabio Quartararo.
On board with Fabio Quartararo as they flick it right into turn 7. That's where Marc Marquez had his massive crash on Friday in the morning. I remind you, if you've just tuned in, as things stand, Marc Marquez will be crowned world champion. He faces no threat at all from Andrea Dovizioso in this race. It has been quite a disappointing day for Ducati. A great start from Dovi to get himself up to 4th, but he's offered nothing since, unfortunately. This is going to be another good lap from Viñales, by the way, as well. He's taken another 10th out of these guys, and we're in sector 4, which is his strongest. They might be about 2.2 when they go across the line.
Fear it's all too little too late from Maverick Viñales. Yet again, though, he is the quickest man of the top 3. 3/10 actually quicker than Fabio Quartararo on that last lap. Marc Marquez trying to get in some slipstream behind the Petronas Yamaha down this first straight, hard on the brakes into turn number 3. Looks like Marquez is certainly a little bit stronger going into turn number 3 on the brakes. That's what we saw in Misano, didn't he? He said in the Red Bull Ring in Austria, where he led the whole Grand Prix, Andrea Dovizioso mugged him at the final corner. He said it's always harder to lead the race. You're the man that feels like you're doing the hard work. It's a little bit easier to be the man behind, using the reference ahead of you, easy to play, follow my leader.
He's stalking him here,
yeah,
Matt. He's had an opportunity to overtake as well on a couple of occasions.
Honda singing in his ears right now. He knows that Marquez is just setting himself up, lining himself up for the pass. At what point will Marquez roll the dice and go for it?
Fabio Quartararo said back in Misano, if he had his time again, he'd do exactly the same. He would lead and just this time try and make sure that he didn't lose out on the line. Well, he's in exactly the same position as last time, but Marc Marquez is getting a really good close look at where Fabio's strong, where he's weak.
Yeah, absolutely. The gap again over the line, 2/10 between the pair of them. Fabio Quartararo, after Misano, said, just racing Marc Marquez to the checkered flag, one of the all-time greats in motorcycle world championship racing. It wasn't just the best day of his racing career, it was the best day of his life. It'll only be the best days of his life, though, if he starts beating Marc Marquez. He will not want to come out second best yet again. Marquez is so good on that front end, on that Honda into turn number 3.
Downhill into turn 4. Now this is where Marc is so quick. Is he going to have a look through the 2 left-handers, maybe into turn 6, line something up?
Well, it looked like almost there going into turn number 4 that Marquez just almost sat up. He checked up. He was so close to Fabio Quartararo. Aleix Espargaro, all of his hard work and effort. That is a real punch in the rib cage for Aleix Espargaro, because he was on course for a top 10. That is really cruel. That is harsh. Don't deserve that.
It won't go down too well, will it? Because he's already pretty dejected with life at the moment. He's looking for answers, and the bike says no. What a terrible shame for Aleix.
Unfortunately, not the first time the Wally factory has been plagued by mechanical gremlins. So back at the front, it is still advantage Quartararo. They sweep into turn 12 now to complete lap number 18.
Viñales has been closing about half a tenth a lap
Just a little bit further back, I can see Alex Rins. He's right on Andrea Dovizioso's case as well. Rins has hunted down Dovizioso, and the Italian may not be able to hang on to 4th place here. This is where the Suzuki will struggle to get on par with the Ducati coming out of that first corner. We know that the Suzuki found horsepower this year, but not good enough to get it on the level of the Ducati. Look at Andrea Dovizioso, that's just embarrassing. I mean, Rins was 3 or 4 bike lengths behind him going into turn 1. By the time they hit the brakes for turn 3, it's a dozen bike lengths, the gap between the pair of them. So it's hard work for Alex Rins if he is to find a way through on Andrea Dovizioso.
8 laps remain here in Thailand. Fabio Quartararo still out front, but he is being shadowed by Marc Marquez. Who else? Viñales 2.2 seconds further adrift in 3rd.
This is not a case of if, it's a case of when. Marquez looks really, really comfortable behind Fabio Quartararo. Viñales has got the gap down to Marquez to 2.1 seconds. Again, he was the fastest of that top 3.
Razlan Razli, he doesn't care about the World Championship. He doesn't care if Marquez is crowned World Champion today. He just wants his man on that top step.
Well, that's the biggest shock of the weekend so far. He's still got some fingernails left. Maybe we'll have to go back to him in about, what, 10 minutes time or so to see if there's been any gnawing of those fingernails, because it's going to be a nerve-wracking final 7 laps for the Petronas Yamaha SRT team. They're under immense pressure, or their man is Fabio Quartararo. That said, though, Quartararo was the marginally quicker man last lap around, a 10th quicker than Marquez, the gap back up to 3/10.
Top Gun is going to be so frustrated at the end of this race. They're working tirelessly to find the answers to what's going wrong in this early part of a race, because it's costing him big points and big chances to win races. He's 2.1 seconds adrift. He's matched the pace and bettered it for the last 10 or so laps, but for 3 or 4 laps, unfortunately, he was half a second a lap down, and it's cost him dearly.
Well, unless Marc Marquez makes a real hash of these final 6.5 laps in Buriram, whatever happens, he's going to be crowned the world champion, because Andrea Dovizioso, the only man that can stop him, is nowhere. He's almost 10 seconds behind this group. It's just now how much risk Marc Marquez takes to try and win this Thai Grand Prix from Fabio Quartararo. If he stays on board, game over. He's the 2019 world champion.
To be frank, if he doesn't stay on board, he's probably going to be the 2019 world champion.
That's true.
He can afford to take risks in his own head. They want to try and just get the job done. I mean, this has been stunning pace. Fabio Quartararo has been outstanding at the front, but you do just get the feeling that it's a matter of time before Marc Marquez, he's waiting patiently to do it at the final stages. Is it going to be a repeat of Misano? Will Quartararo get his own back?
That pace is incredible. Speed, consistency, control, talent, skill.
Right now, the World Championship is not even in the mind of Marc Marquez. He's just got his eyes glued to Quartararo, and this is the early mind games of a new rivalry that he's trying to get under the skin of Fabio Quartararo. I cannot see Marquez just happily rolling this one home into second place.
Well, he knows now implicitly exactly the strengths and weaknesses of the Yamaha ahead of him, and the strengths and weaknesses of Quartararo as well. He's sat on Quartararo's rear tyre pretty much for the entirety of this race so far.
He was pushing that front end into turn 5, Marc Marquez. That's where he crashed in qualifying yesterday. It's where Quartararo crashed yesterday in qualifying. The title chance, well, forget chance. Title certainty right now. The Repsol Honda team look nervy because they just never really know what they're going to get. They tell him to calm down and he just says no.
Well, they're probably prepping themselves for a pretty big hangover in Bangkok tomorrow morning. There's going to be some party and some celebrations in Southeast Asia tonight, because Marc Marquez is well on course to clinch an 8th Grand Prix world title, a 6th in the Premier class. There are 5 laps to go. Still nothing between Quartararo and Marquez at the front of this race. The gap over the line, just over 2.5 tenths.
You get the feeling, Matt, if he's going to do it, he might have to do it earlier in the lap.
Well, Andrea Dovizioso at the start of this race was missing half a second, then it went up to 7/10 of a second. Right now, he's a second slower than Quartararo and Marquez. Just has not been at the races today, Andrea Dovizioso. Really, from lap onwards, he's never looked like posing that serious threat to try and extend the World Championship into round 16 in Japan in 2 weeks' time. It's all going to be pretty academic unless Marquez succumbs to a late blunder.
It's Groundhog Day through turns 4, 5 and 6 here. This is where Marquez might try and pull the move off on the final lap. I've been watching over and over again them going into the final turn, and because the Yamaha is so strong in that final sector, he might think his best chance, Marc Marquez, of winning this race is by pulling something off midway round. That's what he did, of course, to Dovizioso last year.
You have to remind yourself, don't you? Yes, we're 15 races into his first season in MotoGP, but Fabio Quartararo is still a rookie. He's never ridden a MotoGP bike pre-weekend here in Buriram, and here he is yet again, just like Lozano, taking the fight tooth and nail, standing toe-to-toe with arguably one of the greatest riders we've ever seen, Marc Marquez. 4 laps to go, and Marquez still can't get within a couple of tenths. He hunts down Quartararo again on the brakes into the first corner. Steve called it brilliantly. The last thing on Marquez's mind right now is the MotoGP World Championship.
They're going to come side by side here. This is as close as he's been. Here we go then. Fabio Quartararo with Marc Marquez on the outside. Quartararo can see him, but there's surely not going to be any way through. Marquez runs it slightly wide. Quartararo knew Marc wasn't going to be able to pull that off, but he does also know now just how close Marc Marquez is and just how hungry he is. This is on here in Thailand. Will he have a look into turn 4? No, it's too risky there.
Yeah, Quartararo always knew he had the inside line. There was no way for Marquez to turn in. Here they are, they need to turn number 5 on lap number 23. Quartararo versus Marquez, just like it was in Misano, with Maverick Vinales potentially waiting to pick up the pieces. They sweep through turn 7. Marquez, will he try and get close enough to attack the Frenchman into the final corner?
This is the big problem for Marc on the last couple of laps. He's desperately trying to find a way where he can get enough slipstream to then pass him in the last corner.
And we do know all weekend, Sector 4 has been Yamaha territory. This is where the M1 really starts to click into top gear. It really sinks through
but
here.
this is as close as they've been, and there's a bit of a rear end wobble there from Fabio Quartararo. If that was the final lap, Marquez would have pulled off a block pass for sure. Across the line they go. 3 laps to go now between Fabio Quartararo and Marc Marquez.
What's going through the head of Marquez? Where has he calculated it's going to be the moment to pick his time, to try and pick a way through on Quartararo? What we've learned in Misano and here today in Buriram, that Fabio Quartararo, boy, can he handle the pressure of leading a MotoGP race. Marquez draws alongside him again just to show him that front wheel. He'll see that big blur of orange and red. The Repsol Honda alongside him. He doesn't crack yet again though, Quartararo.
But just in the distance there, Vinales 2 seconds adrift. He would need more than a few scuffles to be in contention in the latter stages. It looks like it's just down to these two. The 20-year-old Fabio Quartararo, the 26-year-old 7-time world champion Marc Marquez, soon to be 8.
Yeah, Vinales 1.9 seconds back of this top 2. Here they come through turn number 7, then 2.5 laps to go. It is still Quartararo that leads the way. It's been a quality and classy ride yet again from him.
Sector 4 has got to be squeaky clean from Quartararo now for every remaining lap. Alberto Pucci and Takeo Yokoyama are thinking, blimey, let's just get this over and done with, please. Razlan Razli knows all about it. He just wants his band on the top step. The crowd are going mad.
He's got some serious butterflies churning inside his stomach. As the Malaysian boss, it was only just over a year ago that this team even started to exist, and here they are on the brink of another famous victory, but standing in between them is a legend in the shape of Marc Marquez. They come into turn 1 for the penultimate time. Marquez has had a look at Quartararo on the brakes in the turn 3 a couple laps. Quartararo got an awesome drive out of turn 1. It looked like Marquez might have just got a little bit scrappy on the entry of that first turn.
Marquez is looking for any way through, any mistake, any fold from Fabio Quartararo as they now exit turn 3. Marquez early on the gas. He's trying to claw his way into contention here. He won't do it into turn 4. It's too dangerous to do it.
He did not make a single mistake in Misano, but still lost to the mercurial Marquez. He has not made a single mistake so far here in Thailand, Quartararo. but he is under some of the biggest pressure you will ever get. As a MotoGP rider, I thought Marquez was going to snap one through there. He had a look. Yet again, he shows Quartararo that front wheel.
He's been rehearsing that one for a few laps. That would have to be so clean and so precise. He'll have one more go at that. Now, can he get close enough in the final sector?
Are we mirroring Misano? Is Marquez going to attack at the start of the last lap just like he did on the Adriatic coast a few weeks ago? This is where Quartararo and the Yamaha have been so supreme. Is Marquez going to be close enough to fire that 100 up the inside into turn number 12? He's not. It's all about these the final corner, 4.5 kilometres to go here in Buriram. Marquez on the brink of the World Championship. Will he take it from the top step of the podium?
We're on the last lap. Will it be a rookie win, a maiden win? Will it be a Marquez win on his way to that 8th world crown? Onto the back straight we go. He's got brilliant drive, Marquez. He's in the slipstream. He will now pull over to the left again. Now he's going to go on the brakes. He's really late. Is he going to get that Repsol Honda stopped? He's going in deep. He's done it. He's through.
He's a little bit wide, but he's going to cut it back to the apex. Marquez then hits the front. He's just going to be a classic late attack from Marquez to clinch the 2019 MotoGP World title. From that top step, has Fabio Quartararo got anything left in the tank to stop Marquez here in Buriram?
Marquez is trying to make it work here in the second sector. Quartararo's got to have a brilliant final couple of sectors. Marquez here has already got a 10th in his back pocket. He looks like he could be all right.
There's only going to be one corner for Quartararo to do it. It's going to be the final corner. Fabio Quartararo's got to go all in. Is he going to lunge, try and fire it up the inside? Marquez runs a tight defensive line. There's no way for Quartararo to get close. It's all about now the momentum, the corner speed that the Yamaha has in the 4th sector. They come through turn 10, turn number 11 now. Quartararo lining up for attack. Marquez, is he going to hang on? He's going to be world champion surely, but it's all about the last corner.
Here comes Fabio Quartararo up the inside. Marquez knows it's coming. He can't stop it. It's the cutback. The checkered flag is out.
He's done it.
He wins in Thailand, and he is the 8th-time world champion. What a rumble here in Buriram.
What a way to be crowned 2019 MotoGP world champion. There it is on your screens. That says it all. Take a bow, Marc Marquez. He's been magnificent. Another masterclass from him. He takes the title from the top step of the podium, and just like he did in Buriram 1 year ago, he wins it in a nail-biting final corner showdown. Quartararo pushed him all the way. Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen, your 2019 MotoGP World Champion. Jubilant scenes there for Repsol Honda and HRC. What a way to lift the title.
Quartararo's been beaten again. It was a magnificent race from the rookie, and he will have his day in the sun. But again, it's just slipped away from him right at the last moment. He had to have a go.
He gave it everything. He left it all on the line. He came from a long way back. You can see there his rear tyre skipping in the air. He just could not get it stopped. Marquez knew it was coming, lined up the cutback move. Brilliant race, a brilliant season by Marc Marquez, a richly deserved, well-merited world champion. This unbelievable record continues. He has never finished outside of the top 2 so far this year. It's another victory for him.
It's just incredible. This year, that's 15 races, 14 podiums and 9 wins. Unstoppable. What a day for Marc Marquez. What a heartache for the Petronas Yamaha SRT team. Let's get the thoughts now with the team manager, Wilco Zeelenberg. Unfortunately, Quartararo only second best today.
Wilco, it's all about Marc today, but I really want to hear about your thoughts of that incredible ride from your rookie, Fabio.
Yeah, I think it's all about Marc today because of the championship, but I think for the future it's all about Fabio and Marc, and I think that makes the sport great.
Thank you, and congratulations. Thank you.
Well, we can't argue with that. Thanks for the thoughts there of Wilco Zeelenberg. It is indeed all about this man. Fabio will have many days that we can talk about. The headlines will be about him, but today it's about one man. He's going to be gutted, he's going to be disappointed, but he's only 20.
Yeah, his time will come. He has fought tooth and nail yet again with one of the best we've seen. It's all over. Ducati, their long wait. Casey Stoner 2007, and one and only time they've been Premier Class World Champions. They never got close to making sure this man had to wait to the twin rim Motegi in Japan. It's an 8th wonder for Marc Marquez. Dovizioso was 11.2 seconds off at the checkered flag. Nowhere to be seen in the podium battle.
They've all been hammered by him this year. He manages to create motivation for himself when you can't even... Hello, what we got here? Well, you can see what's coming here, can't you? The 7 previous World Championships, starting with the 125s in 2010, Moto2, 2012, and then, well, look at that, 13, 14, only 15 he missed out on, 16, 17, 18. And well, you can guess what's coming next.
Yeah, and as we said, the 4th successive title is 8th. As we said, an 8th wonder. It now means that he joins that illustrious club. That's great to see as well. Andrea Dovizioso, he fought a good fight, but he's come up short again. His main focus now will be trying to ensure he's runner-up for the 3rd year in a row. Some good tracks coming up on the calendar for Ducati, Motegi and Sepang. Maverick Vinales, yet again, super fast pace for much of the race, but just missing in those early laps. He was 3rd.
On the positive side for Vinales, he's only 4 points off 3rd in the World Championship right now, but it's all about this man.
Hailwood, Agostini, Duan, Rossi were the only men to have won 4 straight Premier Class titles before today. Add Marc Marquez to that illustrious list. Oh, here we go. There's a pool table ready. Let me guess, he's going to fire home the 8 ball to mark his 8th World Championship. Brilliant, brilliant scenes.
I hope he doesn't miss.
I was going to say, I hope he's as good with a pool cue as what he is with a MotoGP motorcycle.
There is the cue. A fantastic moment. I can't say that I've ever taken a pull shot in full leathers before.
Well, right on cue, he's about to fire home the 8 ball. I guess we could say he's chalked up yet another world title. Come on, Mark, don't let us down. Pop this 8 ball. You've done nothing else wrong so far today. No pressure. Here we go. Hey, there you go. The 8 times world champion sinks the 8 ball. He jumps on top of the pool table, and somewhere in Buriram tonight, or in Bangkok, there's going to be a heck of a pool party, I'd imagine.
He didn't miss. It wasn't a Diana Ross 1994 World Cup final moment. It was a brilliant performance from the start.
Hashtag 8 ball, I'm sure right now is trending across all social media platforms around the world. Look at the relief. He has been truly sensational, unstoppable. There it is then, world title number 8 in his hands, and he did it with a absolutely typical virtuoso Marc Marquez performance.
You are living in the Marc Marquez era of MotoGP, folks. He is so wildly talented. He is so ruthless at times. He is obsessed with winning. He is a genius at times. He was on the deck and in hospital on Friday morning, and we thought it was all over, and he comes back to win. He is the master of MotoGP.
Here comes the special gold helmet, which we've seen now become a customary part of the Marquez celebrations. World champion yet again. And there is no doubt about it, he is one of the greatest we've ever seen, and he just proved it in those 26 laps. He did not have to take those kind of risks. He knew Dovizioso was not going to be in the battle, and he's about to get a humongous reception from the Honda fans and the Marquez fan club. They have come to see him take the world title, and he did not disappoint for 1 second. Fantastic, unforgettable, memorable scenes here in Buriram. Not just for Marc Marquez, but for MotoGP. What a spectacle it was for him to win the title. And this man deserves so much credit. Nothing that he did wrong in that race. He will be able to go to sleep tonight, safe in the knowledge that he rode an absolutely brilliant race. Sometimes, though, your best is not good enough, certainly when you're fighting one of the best in Marc Marquez.
Tried everything, didn't he?
Look at
to
that.
pull up the bike, the rear wheels in the air. It just wasn't quite enough.
These two wanted pole position so badly yesterday. They both crashed at turn 5 trying to beat each other. And look at that, sideways rear tyres in the air going into the final corner. But it was Marquez that came out on top. Third successive victory for the first time in almost a year. And here comes the 8 ball, hashtag 8 ball, 8 World Championships for Marc Marquez. Where will the record books be when this man decides to hang up his leathers?
He's taken 8, 3 years sooner than Valentino Rossi did. If he races as long as Rossi, goodness knows where those figures will be, Matt. Fabio Quartararo's got to try and compose himself.
He can be so proud of the way he rode today, though. So proud.
Here is your world champion of 2019.
I think Honda are going to excuse him, aren't they? The fact that he's doing a burnout, of course, with the engine limits. You don't see burnout celebrations anymore, do you? But they will not care one jot, because the gold ticker tape goes off for Marc Marquez. As we said, nobody will be able to begrudge him being crowned 2019 world champion. He has been a complete class apart so far this year. His only blemish, that crash in Austin when he was over 3 seconds clear. Other than that, in the other 14 Grand Prix, this amazing motorcycle racer has finished inside the top 2. It's speed, it's talent, it's skill and consistency that nobody at the moment in the MotoGP field can match. Champion is Campeón del Mundo, and that's brilliant. An embrace between the two of them. We can go down to pit lane because Simon Crayford's got, I'm sure, an ecstatic HRC team manager, Alberto Puig. Simon, over to you.
Alberto, how do you feel?
Well, look, it's fantastic. It's unbelievable, the race and the title, and we are very proud of our rider and of the work of the team. So, yeah, we are really, really, really happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very, very happy. Emotions, as you'd expect, running pretty high when you've just been crowned MotoGP World Champion. Apologies for some of Alberto's choice of language there, but as we say, emotions are running very, very high. Fabio Quartararo, as we said, so much for him to be proud of. There's nothing to be ashamed. There's no disgrace being beaten by this man, Marc Marquez, when he's riding on the top of his game. We thought he was awesome in 2014 when he won those first 10 races, but he's elevated himself to a complete new level this year.
He's been every bit as good as he was in 2014, but if not, a bit better in many ways. Just a remarkable record. He's so difficult to beat. He's so consistent. He wins today ahead of Quartararo and Vinales. Further back, Dovi, Rins, Morbidelli, Mir. Great result from Mir. Rossi finished in 8th in the end ahead of Petrucci, Nakagami, Bagnaia and Crutchlow. Pol Espargaro was 13th. Jack Miller, of course, who had that nightmare on the grid at the start, was miles behind. Managed to pick up a couple of points. He finished in 14th ahead of Iannone.
Maverick Vinales, well, it ran a similar theme to Mazzano, really. Didn't lead the race. There's Kawata-san, one of the main men now at HRC, just coming down to congratulate Marc Marquez. Of course, it's contract renewal time next year for all the main players in MotoGP. I think HRC are going to have to get out a very big cheque to keep Marc Marquez on board. Name your price.
After losing his breath from that crash on Friday, Matt, in FP1 in the morning, I honestly was convinced that this would rumble on to Japan at least.
Well, those fans didn't blow up those balloons for nothing, did they? Mark, 8th wonder, as we said. Yeah, who'd have thought it? I mean, I think if you'd even said to Marc Marquez when he was lying in that hospital bed in Buriram around Friday lunchtime, he was going to be on the front row and then fight for the victory, take the victory in such dramatic fashion to be crowned world champion, he might have laughed you out of the building. But this is Marc Marquez. As we said, one of the most extraordinary, special talents we've ever had the pleasure of witnessing in the Motorcycle World Championship. Maverick Vinales, well, we said it was a bit like Mazzano. Good first 2 or 3 laps, did what he wanted to do, get away from the Ducatis. But then around laps 3 to 8, just like Lozano, carbon copy really, just lost the rhythm. And then late on, he had race pace as good as the top two. Here he is though, Maverick Vinales, third here in Buriram. He's going to be talking to Simon Crafer.
Maverick, you caught them a few seconds from midway in the race. Tell us about the race.
Yeah, I had many issues with the rear tire in the beginning, very low grip, but then I tried to just get into the rhythm, trying to be calm, be patient. I thought I could do a little bit better, but at the end I catch a little bit, but not enough. But anyway, it was a good race to get information and to understand what to improve. I think we three were in another level today, what's the most important, we there fighting, and we see in Japan, which is a really good track for me.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Well, it was the front tyre that he didn't feel confident with at the start of that Lozano race. Today you heard it from the horse's mouth, he didn't really have the rear grip he wanted in those crucial early laps. It is still another podium for Maverick Vinales. That's now 6 in the last 8 races. Third he was here in Buriram 1 year ago behind Marquez and Davizioso. Third he is again today. Pretty tight, a close battle and jostling for position off the line with Marquez. To be fair though, that was about as close as Maverick got to the new world champion throughout that race, but when all's said and done, he is on the podium yet again, but not the top Yamaha, which will sting a little bit because that honour went to Fabio Quartararo. And here he is, he's got a big smile on his face. He rode a phenomenal Buriram Grand Prix. Let's hear all about it. He's with Simon in Park Ferme.
Fabio, that was a ride to be very proud of for an experienced rider. But this was your first time on a MotoGP bike here. Are you happy?
Yeah, of course I'm happy. I can't say nothing. You know, I'm really proud of the work of the team, of my job. And honestly, I can't be more happy because fight until the last corner with I tried everything, and yeah, if I didn't try this move in the last corner, I don't go home normal. And yeah, really happy about the result, and it's coming soon.
Congratulations.
It is coming soon. Mark everybody's words in the paddock. They know it's coming soon. Yeah, better to try it and it not work out than just to sit behind Marquez and let him win the race, that's for sure.
FYI, he's only 24 points off Rins in the battle for third as well.
You know, they say you should never wish your life away, but after what we've seen in Lozano, after what we've seen here today in Buriram, I can't wait until March the 8th, 2020. I think next year, this rivalry between Marc Marquez and Fabio Quartararo is only going to get stronger. It's only going to get more intense.
Bring it on.
He rode absolutely brilliantly. He said, I tried absolutely everything. He will be able to sleep well tonight because there was nothing more he could do. If you are racing Marc Marquez on the last lap of a MotoGP race as a rookie, then you're doing something very, very special indeed. But here he is though, your 2019 MotoGP World Champion in Park Ferme with Simon Crafer.
Mark, how does it feel to have the championship in the bag, the weight off your shoulders and some races to go?
I mean, you saw what I said yesterday. I mean, I was planning the weekend for try to win the race. Doesn't matter the championship, doesn't matter the distance between me and Dobby. My target was try to find the best way to win the race, and it's what I did. Honestly speaking, Fabio was really fast in one part of the race. I was some gap there in the middle, but then I catch up. Then I started to study for last lap. I knew that T4, especially T3 and especially T4 was very, very fast. But okay, I mean, amazing year. All the Repsol Honda team did amazing job. I wanna say thanks to all the sponsors, to all the people around me, and yeah, now time to enjoy it and celebrate this 8th title.
Congratulations, Mark.
And there will be a big celebration. Trust us, we've seen how Marc Marquez and his team celebrate. This was the decisive moment of a classic battle with Quartararo. Quartararo lunged up the inside of Marquez into turn 12. On the cutback, Marquez got him. And the sweetest of sweet tastes, he's the world champion for 2019. And he's done it with one of his best ever career victories against the rising star in MotoGP. Make no mistake about that, Fabio Quartararo. He said his time will come. Never has a more truer word been spoken.
This is the team around Marc Marquez that make it happen. It's not just a one-man job, although sometimes when you watch him, you're just completely baffled. His father, over the moon.
Well, he's definitely Honda's hero. When you look at the next best Honda in that race, it was Taka Nakagami on last year's RC213V, 10th, 29 seconds behind. No other Honda rider lapping within 1 second of this man. That's what it feels like, the release of all the emotion, all the hard work that you don't see behind the scenes. There's the 8 ball. That's one of Alex Marquez's Moto2 crew, isn't it? Doing referee duty for him.
And he's got the chest cam on as well.
Yes, if you happen to find yourself on a flight back from Bangkok to Europe tomorrow with some of the HRC staff, you might not be getting too much sleep on that flight, because there's going to be some pretty rowdy celebrations going on.
Incredible way to win the World Championship in 2019.
Oh, you have to just stand back and marvel at the talents of the guy. He is absolutely incredible. I do love this graphic, actually. Absolutely brilliant. Here he is then, sinking the 8th ball, having sunk Fabio Quartararo to wrap up his 8th MotoGP title. Incredible scenes here for Marc Marquez. He's done it with 4 races still to go.
Do you reckon there's a chance that he would have seen the pool table being set up in the last few laps?
Just thinking, actually, I've got to win this. I better win this now. I'm just happy that he didn't miss the pot. It was pretty hard to miss it, but you know, he would have had quite a lot of adrenaline and emotion coursing through those veins. But he did the business off the track, just as he did on the track as well.
Fans here have put on a great show as well in Thailand. It really has been spectacular as the 8 ball gets booted up towards the fan.
Tell you what, that is one heck of a souvenir to be having.
Try and get that in your luggage.
Is it going back? Don't throw it back, keep it.
Keep it.
Exactly, keep it. So, an embrace and a congratulations from Maverick Vinales to Marc Marquez.
Se cansa, dice. Me duele el hombro. De la frenada 3, ¿no? La frenada 3 era terrible.
You're looking at the current king of MotoGP on the left-hand side of your picture, and potentially the future king of MotoGP. 2 men.
Ya, casi la paras bien en la última curva. Ha ido de poco.
El problema es que cuando he frenado, fue muy a derecha.
Está sucio.
Se me ha levantado, he intentado todo, pero... ¡Guau! Iba muy al límite con la de delante.
Fabio Quartararo just saying there that when he went over to the right to brake, it was dirty.
Hostia.
Couldn't stop the bike.
La celebración aquí. Me he ahogado allí, tío.
Yeah, Marc Marquez just saying there to Fabio Quartararo, he's basically emotionally and physically drained. He's put his body through the mill this weekend. If you've seen those photos of his crashing FP1 at turn number 7, you would not have believed that he was actually going to be starting this race. He's just put his heart and soul into that Grand Prix, exhausted from the race, exhausted from the celebrations, but Marc Marquez has won the World Championship in such stunning fashion. Great race. The Buriram circuit has produced more thrilling, enthralling two-wheeled action here. And the good news is we haven't got to wait a year to come back. We're coming back here in 2020 for round 2, March the 22nd. Get your tickets right now, because it's going to be exciting to come back in just, what, 5-6 months' time. He's just trying to let it all sink in. There'll be something slightly stronger than just the Red Bull, I'd imagine, being consumed there. Pierre Gasly, Formula One star, offers his congratulations to our new MotoGP World Champion. I'm sure Pierre Gasly would have certainly enjoyed that spectacle. That's it, Mark. Take in some deep breaths, soak it in, lap it all up. You are number one, numero uno.
He is a remarkable athlete, Marc Marquez, a remarkable athlete. One we've not seen kind of for a long, long time.
You know, even by his own admission, you got a sense that that crash at turn 7 really rattled him. The biggest crash that we've seen Marc Marquez have for quite a few years. A vicious, vicious high side at turn 7. But he ends a pretty bruising and painful weekend with a huge smile on his face. Maverick Vinales comes to the podium. Good ride by Maverick. On the front row for the 8th time this year. On the podium yet again. Fabio Quartararo. Well, you can't really say nothing more than sensational for his performance to push Marc Marquez to the last corner like he did. But let's have a listen to the reception. Huge roars and cheers from this appreciative, huge crowd here in Buriram. 95,000 fans toast the 93 here in Thailand. He jumps on to the top step of the podium, victorious here in Thailand, and he is. The banner says it all. Marc Marquez, there's the 8 ball. He is the 2019 MotoGP World Champion. He's just trying desperately to let it all sink in. Here is Pierre Gasly, then the Toro Rosso Formula One driver, handing over the Constructor Trophy to Honda. Jubilation for HRC, they're well set to retain the Constructor prize. Marquez single-handedly is keeping Repsol Honda in the battle for the team championship. Big smiles all round from Japanese staff then. There'll be some big celebrations, some big marketing campaigns going now for their home Grand Prix between the Motegi. Maverick Vinales then, 3rd place for him. His 62nd career podium, 22nd in the MotoGP World Championship, and his 154th career start for the 24-year-old Spaniard. Fabio Quartararo, the rising new star in the MotoGP World Championship, the 20-year-old from Nice. His 9th career podium, his 5th in the MotoGP World Championship, in just his 15th Grand Prix, and yet again he was the only man that could take the fight all the way to the checkered flag with the mercurial Marc Marquez. But here is the new MotoGP World Champion, the 26-year-old Spaniard, Marc Marquez, his 130th career podium, his 91st in MotoGP, 53rd Grand Prix victory, and more crucially, he is now an 8 times world champion, 6 times MotoGP world champion. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2019 MotoGP world champion, Marc Marquez. Special scenes here in Buriram for our 2019 MotoGP World Champion, Marc Marquez. That Prosecco is going to taste very, very sweet. What a race, what a season by that man. Listen to these numbers. It's his 123rd MotoGP start. That was his 91st podium, 53rd win. He's won nearly 50% of the MotoGP races he's actually started as this man, Marc Marquez. One of the best we've ever seen, and he continues this relentless charge through the record books. Great super slow motion replays of some jubilant celebrations then here in Thailand.
Yeah, great scenes for Marc Marquez, and it just gets better for him now as he has 4 races to basically test ahead of the 2020 season.
Yep, he's going to want to win all those 4 races, but it allows him to have one eye on 2020. There's your podium then here at the end of a stunning, thrilling PTT Thailand Grand Prix. It all came down to the wire yet again between Marc Marquez and Fabio Quartararo. And that helmet tells you the full story of today. The golden helmet for the golden boy. Marc Marquez now an 8 times Grand Prix world champion, 125's Moto2. 6 times a Premier Class champion. 6 out of his 7 seasons in the Premier Class he has prevailed.
He stands on the top step with the 8 ball. If you want to get involved in social media, it is hashtag 8ball, bottom right of your screen. Marc Marquez, your world champion.
Here we go. Marquez challenged Dovizioso. He has the lead into turn 1. First win of 2019. Momentous victory. Makes it 300 for Honda here in Le Mans. And it's a happy home for Marc Marquez. Oh, side by side. Around the outside of Woodcote. He's gone for it straight away. He smashes it here in Aragon. Marc Marquez is the 2019 MotoGP World Champion.
That's the story not only of today in Thailand, but the story of a remarkable 2019 World Championship campaign that's been waged by Marc Marquez. Up onto the podium to join the celebrations come his Repsol Honda crew. Santi Hernandez there with the beard. He's been a constant sidekick to Marquez throughout his Grand Prix career. They're getting quite accustomed to these world title celebrations. Oh, that crew. This is Marc Marquez's record in 2019. Second, first, DNF, first, second, first, second, first, second, first, first.